right to have a hearing to determine what your proper sentence is. But in order to get to the 15 years that were part of your plea agreement, it would require you to waive or give up your right to such a hearing and agree to be sentenced outside of what your range may have been. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And that's how you wish to proceed.
Yes, Your Honor.
As for the factual basis on Mr. Scalf's case in 26139 on November 17, 2020, Jediah, Glover, Jason Barber, and Zachary Scott drove across Carter County armed with guns, having discussed in some form conducting a shooting at the home of Burley Cantor on Blevins Road. In the hours prior to traveling across the county to Blevins Road, the defendants had met with their friend Zayla Arnett, who'd been shot in an incident with Burley Cantor weeks prior. During that discussion, the desire for revenge in the form of a shooting was expressly discussed. During both their time with Zayla Arnett and their drive to Blevins Road, the defendants were armed with an assault rifle and a 9mm pistol. Driving past the home of Blevins Road in the early morning hours of November 17th, 21 rounds were fired toward Cantor's home, which at the time had 8 occupants. One round struck Lillyhanna Davis, a child inside of the home, in the head and took her life. Following an investigation into the shooting, the Carter County Sheriff's Office, working with the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, obtained confessions from each of the defendants regarding their presence in the vehicle at the time of the shooting. The state's theory of the case and what would have been presented at trial is that Mr. Scalf facilitated this act by providing substantial assistance in the commission of the felony, but did not act with the intent required for criminal responsibility in a crime. Your Honor.
How do you plead to the charge of facilitation of second-degree murder? Guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
General, did you say you had questions?
I do have questions, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
Mr. Scalf, in early morning of November 17th, were you involved with the shooting of Lillyhanna Davis on Blevins Road?
Yes.
Were you in the vehicle at the time of the shooting?
Yes.
Who else was in the vehicle, sir?
Jason Barber and Jediah Glover.
Going to the day prior to the shooting on November 16th, were you at a car place off State Line Road?
Yes.
Who were you there with?
Zayla Arnett.
Okay. Did Mr. Glover and Mr. Barber arrive at that same location?
Yes.
Were you aware at that time of the incident weeks before involving Mr. Arnett and Mr. Cantor, where Mr. Arnett was shot?
Yes.
Were Mr. Glover and Mr. Barber also aware of that incident?
To the best of my knowledge, yes.
Was it discussed at State Line Road?
Yes.
Did you end up leaving the State Line place?
Yes.
Where'd you end up going?
Well, we left a couple different times and we went back. The first time we left, we drove around and we came back, and then we left to go to a gas station, and we came back, and I ended up getting picked up by Jediah and Jason after that.
Okay, and when you were picked up by Mr. Glover and Mr. Barber, where did you go?
Our buddy Chris Perry's.
Okay. After leaving Mr. Perry's house, where did you all go?
Well, we went to a gas station, and we took Chris Perry to a gas station, and we came back, and then after we dropped him off, we then went to Blevins Road.
So you'd said there were, well, let me ask this. During the time you were with Mr. Glover and Mr. Barber, were there discussions about doing something to Burley Cantor at his home?
Yes, but I can't exactly remember in what form.
Were there discussions about any kind of shooting at his home?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
During those discussions, was there any discussion with Mr. Glover, Mr. Barber, about Mr. Cantor perhaps being outside of his residence at his car at the time?
Yeah.
Did you all think it was possible he would be outside at the time? Or I should ask, was it discussed that he may be outside at his car at the time you all went to Blevins Road?
Could I have just a moment?
Yes.
Yeah.
Would you ask your question again, please, Mr. President?
Yes, ma'am. During the discussions with Mr. Barber and Mr. Glover, was there an acknowledgement that Mr. Cantor may be outside at his car when you all went to Blevins Road?
Yes.
Okay. Want to ask about the actual shooting, sir. The first question, or second question you answered was that you were in fact in the vehicle at the time of the shooting. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, I want to ask you about the positions inside of the vehicle. Who was driving the vehicle?
Jediah.
Who was in the passenger seat?
Jason.
Where were you seated, sir?
Behind the driver.
Were there guns present in the vehicle?
Yes.
Had the guns been present earlier in the evening as well at State Line?
Yes.
What gun was each individual in the car holding?
Jason was holding an AR and Jediah was holding a pistol, but he wasn't really holding a sawed-off, but it was beside him.
Okay. So there was also a sawed-off in the car.
Yes.
Were you holding a gun, sir?
No, sir.
As you approached the road, was there any discussion about what was about to happen? As you approached Blevins Road, I should clarify.
No. It was just, upon arrival, I kind of realized what was about to happen. They started cocking the guns, and I told them, I'm pretty sure I told them to turn around and just take me home or something, and they just said, we're gonna go do that.
Did you have any understanding of what "go do that" meant, sir?
Yes, I assumed, but
What did you assume, sir?
that they're gonna go to Burley Cantor's house.
And this is at the time that firearms were out, sir?
Yes. They were out the whole time, though.
You mentioned them getting the firearms ready. Was that closer to Blevins Road?
Yeah, that was turning on Blevins Road, then they started to.
Okay. As you approached the home, can you tell the court what happened?
Like, right when we turned on Blevins Road, that's when they started loading the guns, and I realized what was happening, and I was telling them if they could just take me home and don't need to do it. And I can't exactly remember what was said, besides he said that they're going to do that. And it was kind of tunnel vision the rest of the way. They drove up, and I didn't think they were going to shoot because the car wasn't out there. And I didn't think he was there, but he ended up shooting the house up.
Sir, were you all under the influence of drugs that evening?
I'm sure they were, and I was too.
What drugs, sir?
I can't exactly remember, but I think Suboxone and marijuana.
Was there any methamphetamine use or ice use involved?
Yes.
Some methamphetamine as well?
Just to be
Yeah.
clear, on the part of who?
I'm pretty sure them too.
Did you use methamphetamine that night?
Yeah.
No, that's all the questions the state has.
Mr. Scalf, I've gotten more details out of you than the other two, but I want to know what's the underlying thing, what's going on? Why go to Cantor Road or Blevins Road and to Cantor's house? What was the reason for going there? Why did they go there looking for this man?
I really don't know. They just guess wanted to be in Boston, didn't have anything to do with them.
Say that again, I didn't understand.
I really don't know the reasons behind it all, but they just wanted to do something that didn't involve them.
We don't just randomly say, let's go to this particular road and let's pull out an AR and a pistol and have a sawed-off shotgun and start firing into a trailer. So why did they want to go after Cantor? Do you know?
No, sir.
Zachary Scott Scalf in case 26139, count number 1, upon your plea of guilty to the amended charge of facilitation of second-degree murder, the court hereby finds you guilty. Set your sentence at 15 years in the Tennessee Department of Corrections as a multiple 35% offender. You're fined $25 in costs. You're rendered infamous and must provide a DNA sample.